The world was watching. A super typhoon, one of the strongest ever recorded, tore through the central Philippines. On screens across the globe, news channels showed dramatic images of the storm's fury. Amidst the chaos, Angela Santos, a young Filipino journalist, reported live from the disaster zone. She stood firm against the wind, delivering urgent information to an international audience. Angela's report wasn't just about the storm, it was about the people, their fear, and their hope. She spoke with empathy, describing families huddled in darkness and first responders risking everything. As she finished, the broadcast cut back to the New York studio. The anchor, instead of focusing on the tragedy, made a remark about Angela's accent, a comment that would ignite a global firestorm. The world had heard Angela's report, but what came next would change her life forever. Angela Santos grew up in a quiet village in Iloilo, far from the world of global news. Evenings were spent listening to news on a crackling radio with her grandmother, sparking her fascination with storytelling. She saw how news could bring help and change, and English became her key to that world. Angela devoured English books by kerosene lamp, practicing the language by mimicking radio broadcasters. Her dream, to become a journalist and connect people through stories. Her parents, simple farmers, saved every peso to send her to university in Manila. The city was overwhelming, and her accent marked her as an outsider. But Angela refused to be discouraged, focusing on her studies and her passion for journalism. She was determined to prove that talent and determination mattered more than background. Her journey was just beginning. Angela's international broadcast was the culmination of years of hard work, late nights, and sacrifices. She had spent countless hours perfecting her craft, determined to represent her country on the world stage. Every report, every interview, every moment in front of the camera had led to this. As she signed off, the New York anchor, Mark Peterson, smirked and mocked her charming Filipino English. His words, laced with condescension, cut through the air, catching Angela and viewers off guard. His words, broadcast and leaked online, felt like a blow, dismissing her voice and her plea for help. The sting was immediate, a public humiliation that seemed to erase all her achievements in a single moment. The clip went viral, sparking outrage and debate across social media. People from all over the world weighed in, some defending Angela, others echoing the anchor's prejudice. For many, especially Filipinos, it was a painful reminder of the prejudice faced by non-native English speakers. The incident struck a nerve, reigniting conversations about language, identity, and respect. Angela stayed professional on air, but the sting of mockery lingered. She forced a steady voice, hiding the hurt behind practiced composure, determined not to let the world see her falter. She focused on her work, helping coordinate relief efforts, refusing to let the insult define her. Angela poured her energy into the cause, channeling her pain into purpose, knowing that her mission was bigger than any single slight. That night, alone, Peterson's words replayed in her mind, questioning her competence and identity. She wondered if her accent would always overshadow her message, if her story would ever be heard for what it truly was. The world was talking about her, but not for the reasons she had hoped. Headlines focused on the controversy, not the crisis she was trying to highlight. Yet, even in humiliation, Angela's resolve only grew stronger. She realized that her experience was shared by many, and that her response could inspire others to stand tall. She knew her story, and her voice mattered. Angela decided she would not be silenced or defined by someone else's ignorance. The incident was no longer just about her. It was about every voice that had ever been dismissed. It became a rallying cry for those who had been told they didn't belong, for anyone who had ever been mocked for being different. Angela's silence spoke volumes, and the world was listening. The conversation had shifted. Now people were asking bigger questions about respect, representation, and the power of words. A new story was about to unfold. Angela was ready to write the next chapter, not just for herself, but for everyone who had ever been underestimated. Angela's remarkable journey began in the quiet countryside of Iloilo, a place where English was rarely spoken and felt like a distant language from another world. Her very first teacher was her mother, who patiently guided her through the basics, teaching her not just words, but the value of learning itself. The family's old radio became a window to distant places, opening Angela's ears to new sounds, stories, and possibilities beyond her small village. Inspired, she became a diligent student, carefully jotting down unfamiliar words in her notebook, determined to understand and remember each one. With no one else to practice with, Angela would read aloud and practice her English with the farm animals, turning the fields into her classroom. For Angela, mastering English was never about forgetting her roots. It was a bridge to new opportunities, while still honoring her own language and culture. Her dedication paid off when she earned a scholarship to a prestigious university in Manila, a dream that once seemed impossible. Arriving in the bustling city was overwhelming. Angela felt out of place among her polished, affluent classmates, her rural accent making her stand out even more. One professor even told her that her accent was too thick for broadcast journalism, suggesting she pursue print instead, a moment that stung deeply. But Angela refused to let this setback define her. Instead of changing who she was, she doubled down on her craft, focusing on research, accuracy, and the art of storytelling. She joined the student newspaper, eagerly taking on the toughest assignments, determined to prove herself through hard work and perseverance. Angela let her work speak for itself, pouring her heart and unique perspective into every article she wrote. Soon, her voice began to stand out. Professors and classmates alike started to notice the depth and authenticity in her stories. Angela proved that a powerful story can transcend any accent, reaching people's hearts no matter how it's spoken. With newfound confidence, Angela was ready to step onto the world stage, proud of where she came from and excited for what lay ahead. After graduating with honors, Angela faced a tough job market. Networks wanted a certain look and sound. She didn't fit the mold. Rejections piled up, many citing her accent. But Angela pressed on, fueled by her family's sacrifices and her own ambition. Her break came at a small, gritty news station that valued real reporting over polished accents. She thrived, covering protests, corruption, and disasters with empathy and courage. Her reputation grew, and soon, major networks took notice. Angela was hired by a national network, the same kind that once rejected her. She became a trusted face in Filipino households, her accent a mark of authenticity. When the international broadcast opportunity came, she was chosen for her powerful journalism. Angela climbed the ladder by embracing who she was. Her voice became her signature. She was ready for the world. Mark Peterson's mockery didn't silence Angela. It galvanized a nation. What was meant to be a moment of ridicule instead became a spark that ignited the hearts of millions. Filipinos worldwide rallied behind her, making "Gito proud of my Filipino accent" trend globally. From Manila to New York, from Dubai to Sydney, Filipinos and allies everywhere joined the movement, sharing their own stories and voices. Social media overflowed with stories of pride in regional accents and overcoming linguistic prejudice. People posted videos, wrote heartfelt messages, and celebrated the unique sounds that make Filipino English so distinct and beautiful. The incident sparked a movement, challenging the idea that only standard English was acceptable. Rallies and online campaigns demanded respect for all forms of English and called for an end to accent shaming. Academics, celebrities, and politicians defended Angela, celebrating Filipino English as a vibrant dialect. They spoke passionately about the importance of embracing linguistic diversity and honoring the stories behind every accent. Linguists explained that clarity, not conformity, was the goal of communication. They reminded the world that language is meant to connect, not divide, and that every accent carries history, culture, and identity. Angela became a symbol of resilience and grace. Her courage inspired countless others to speak up, to be proud of their roots, and to never let anyone diminish their worth. The network faced public pressure. Sponsors threatened to pull ads, and petitions demanded an apology. The outcry was impossible to ignore, forcing the media to confront its own biases. The conversation grew into a global debate about respect, diversity, and bias in media. Newsrooms around the world discussed the power of language and the need for true representation. Angela, once a quiet reporter from Iloilo, was now at the center of a worldwide movement. Her voice echoed far beyond her homeland, inspiring people of all backgrounds to embrace their own stories. Her story was no longer just hers. It belonged to everyone who had ever felt unheard. It became a rallying cry for acceptance, dignity, and the right to be seen and heard as you are. The world was finally listening. People everywhere paused, reflected, and began to understand the power of every voice, no matter how it sounds. Change was in the air. A new day was dawning, filled with hope, unity, and the promise of a more inclusive future for all. While the world debated her accent, Angela kept reporting from the typhoon zone. Her follow-up stories of resilience and hope silenced critics and inspired viewers. The network issued a public apology. Mark Peterson was suspended. Angela's focus remained on her work and the people she served. Her career soared. Offers from international news organizations poured in. She became an advocate for diversity in media, speaking at conferences and mentoring others. Angela won the Global Journalist of the Year award, using her speech to champion authentic voices. She accepted a foreign correspondent role at a leading global channel that celebrated her perspective. Her accent, once mocked, became a symbol of authenticity and courage. Angela redefined success in international journalism. She turned disrespect into a platform for global respect. Angela never forgot her roots or the barriers she faced. She co-founded Voices Without Borders, a nonprofit mentoring journalists from diverse backgrounds. The group offered workshops and a safe space to build confidence in authentic voices. They taught that accents were strengths, not weaknesses. The organization grew globally, connecting reporters from Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Angela personally mentored dozens, encouraging them to let their work speak for itself. Voices Without Borders helped break barriers in mainstream media. Angela's legacy became about lifting others up and amplifying unheard voices. She started a quiet revolution, one accent at a time. Angela's journey sparked a shift in the media landscape. Newsrooms began to value linguistic diversity, realizing accents build trust and authenticity. Her story became a case study in media schools, a lesson in the power of public opinion and the dangers of prejudice. The Proud of My Filipino Accent movement fostered new confidence among Filipinos and others worldwide. Angela became a national icon, showing that you can be proudly Filipino and a global citizen. Her story teaches us our voices, in all their melodies, are not flaws, but signatures of our identity. They tell where we come from and the journeys we've taken. Angela was mocked for her voice, but it was that voice that rallied a nation and inspired a movement. Our accents are not barriers, they are strengths. The world is richer for every voice that dares to speak.